Hi, welcome to the Handshake Importer 5-minute training video. This will walk you through what the importer does, how powerful the importer can be, and what you need to pay attention to when using the importer. So to give you a brief background on the importer is a tool we use at Handshake to take data in an Excel CSV file and pull that data into Handshake the application so that you don't have to do that manually. You'll be using the importer to do a lot of uploads, uploads of your student data, uploads of your employer contact data, uploads of labels if you'd like. So it's really important to know how to use the importer and how powerful the importer can be. So if you haven't already, reach out to the Handshake team, either your account manager or the support team, to get an importer account if you're going to be doing the transfer of data for your school. Once you get an importer account, you'll receive an email and set your password for the importer. And you can go to importer.joinhandshake.com to log in with that email address and that password that you set up. When you log into the importer, you will see a screen similar to this. If you haven't done any uploads yet, you will not see any files below the previous uploads heading. In order to create a new file or complete a new upload, you're going to want to go to Upload New CSV. Here is where you will pull in the CSV file that you've put together of your data. You will choose that file from your downloads, your documents folder, your desktop, wherever you have that stored. So I'm going to quickly find my user file. And then I'm going to tell the importer what type of job this is. If you're importing students, it's going to be a user's job type. If you're importing employer contacts, it's going to be a contacts job type, and so on. So I'm going to upload this mentors file. And something that's very important to know, these two boxes down below, if you are uploading an appointments, a past appointments download, or anything that has a field for a date column, make sure if you use the format of month, day, year, you check this box. By default, the importer is looking for year, month, and then day. That is UTC date format, and that is what the importer recognizes unless this box is checked. The next thing, if you're uploading a student file, and you want to change a sensitive field with this file, so that would be email address, username, auth identifier, or card ID, you need to check this box so that the importer knows, yes, I know I'm changing a sensitive field, which is usually used as an identifying field, and I want to move forward with that. In most jobs, you will not be changing identifier data or sensitive fields, so that box can remain unchecked. You will save your job. Choose a different file. Save job. So you can see now that my job was successfully created. And the importer is now running a series of analyzers on my data to make sure that it's clean data, there's no duplicates, the headers are recognizable, all of that good stuff. So you can reload the page by just reloading the top URL. You can see here that I now have an analyzed file, but it has errors in it. So you can see, if you see down below, all of these errors are unreadable to me as the end user. This means I have not converted my file to a UTF-8 file. So if you see something like this, you're going to want to make sure that you go into Excel, convert your file to a UTF-8 CSV file, and then re-upload it. So I'm going to try to upload a new CSV, and I'm going to choose a new file, tell the importer this is a user file, save the job. Now I'm going to reload my file. And you can see down here, we're currently going through each of these checks in the blue boxes. Now you can see something that's a yellow warning means that this is recommended, but not necessarily a deal breaker in terms of running the file. So the following recommended headers are missing from my file, and they're listed out right here. This would be the header. This is the data we're looking for. That doesn't mean the file won't run. We're just saying there could be some information you'd want to add to this file and letting you know. As you run through, you will also see a list of invalid headers present. You're going to want to make sure that any of the headers listed here are not something that you're expecting to load into the system, because anything that's an invalid header, the system will not recognize. So to that point, you're going to want to, when you're uploading a certain type of file, whether it be a user file, a contacts file, a label file, you need to ensure that you have the correct headers on all of your columns. So in this example, I can go to my help desk documentation and see that in order to upload a student file, so a user job type, I need to have these as my column headings. Email address, username, auth identifier. It has to case match specifically. So I would recommend copying and pasting this into your importer file. Awesome. So the importer has finished evaluating my file, and now I have this submit and request run. So once I submit and request run, this is going to send a notification to the Handshake importer team that this file is ready to be run. So if I wanted to, I would click this button and that would go into our queue for processing. Now because this is a test, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go back to the importer and show you all what would happen after a file runs and you still have errors in that file. So if I'm looking at the past uploads that I've done, you can click View Download Results once a file has run through the importer. And then you'll have a little box under this job, if you have any failed rows, that says Download Failed Rows. That means that the file ran, but there are entries that did not make it into the system. And when you download that file, it will come into a CSV file. And I have an example of that pulled up as well. So here is a user file. We uploaded all of these headers, all of this information, and you can see on my failed rows, I have these 2 additional headers and columns. We have the status. Status means invalid. This was not a successful row that loaded into Handshake. And then the response is going to be the error you're seeing. So something like auth identifier has already been taken, or card ID has already been taken. This means that there's another account in the system that has a sensitive field that we're trying to create from the file. So as you can see, you can just go down the list. Email address has already been taken, and you're going to want to make sure if there is an error for sensitive fields, you rerun the failed rows with the checkbox for change sensitive fields with this run. Other invalid statuses, I would make sure that you search on teachme.joinhandshake.com importer invalid statuses, and you'll be able to decipher what each of those responses mean on that Excel file of failed rows. Data imported from the importer is very hard to delete once it's in the system. So please make sure that you are reading your errors carefully, that you have checked the appropriate boxes, either for date or sensitive fields, and that the data that you're loading to the importer is data that you want to be loaded into Handshake. Now, if you want to test the importer and test your file, you can send a file with TEST in the file name, and we will not run that test file. Okay, thank you for listening. Please let us know if you have any questions or concerns.